Hello traders, it's Samurai Trader here. Welcome to session 159. I had no intention of recording a session today, but I just thought after firing off a couple of trades it might be worth it, and particularly for my members, as in a training session today we were discussing using tighter stops. So on the 2-tick Renko, rather than using a 10-tick stop, using an 8-tick stop. And so we'll discuss that as we get to the live recording. So you're going to be able to watch me trade 4 trades for 4 wins. I'll play back the recording and discuss the ins and outs of the trades that I've taken. Let's see, yes, so 4 for 4. I did change this. As I mentioned, I had no intention of doing a recording, and in fact my camera for some reason is not working as well. As always traders, there is a risk in trading. Please don't trade with money that you can't afford to lose. Stay on the simulator until you're consistently profitable. Now you'll notice in today's video I'm using Renko charts, which is really my chart of choice nowadays, but you can use any type of chart, whether it be tick, volume, time-based charts, but definitely hands down, particularly if you're not profitable yet, tick and Renko charts are the 2 charts I would recommend. Now we will go to the live recording in a moment, and I only started recording as I took trade 2, and in today's session I'm trading with only an 8-tick stop, which is $100 and per contract. On the ES, if I'm trading a 2-tick Renko, and the 2-tick Renko is very tradable usually during the Globex session. During the London session, when the market's a lot faster, you're looking at a 4-tick, which means a larger account size. Now what I decided to do was to use a maximum tick stop size of 8 ticks, which is $100. And if you're running with a $4,000 account, that is a 2.5% risk. Now normally traders, you'll hear me say never ever risk no more than 2%. But what if you're an experienced trader? What if you're very disciplined? If you're trading my core setups, usually the market's well and truly underway, and you've got a pretty low probability of a trade coming back and stopping you out. So what's a sensible target? And I'll show you the bottom line of this. So if you're trading a $4,000 account and you're going for 250 a day, it's down here. I'll just show you one other thing before we get there. So I'll explain the ins and outs of this and what it means to you, and then we'll watch the recording and I'll explain that. Now what I wanted to show you also was yesterday's trading, just 3 from 3. And traders, I believe in POQ, the power of quitting. So get in, get out, get paid. Now from these 3 from 3, this is where I'm using a 10-tick stop the day before on exactly the same size candles, and I go for a larger target, and the reason being I have more capital tied up, so I target a larger return. So with yesterday I had a really nice breakout here from a range. I stepped out for about 20 minutes for half an hour, wasn't in on these trades, which just would have completed my trading within those 2. I would have hit my target. I then traded a 2D, and then I had a T20-1, and the reason I put focus there is that the market took off, and what you'll sometimes see me do is cut my trading short. That is, say if on the first 2 trades and I'm in the 3rd trade and I've all of a sudden hit my target, I'll just say, right, I'm just going to cut it there, take my profits and run. What actually happened with this trade, I was distracted doing something on another screen, and all of a sudden price action popped down here, and I could have actually hit my target here. Instead it popped back up, and then I had to wait for it to come back down again. And what I said to my members in my live trading room, you've got to be focused, and when you're trading it's very easy at times to be or become distracted. Now let's now talk about very briefly here, what would it mean to you to be targeting 250 a day on a $4,000 account. Now a lot of people are not going to have 4,000, and that's where you can start on the micro with 400, or use my strategies and trade micro contracts, as many of my members do. They start on micros, or they trade with prop firms, and there's a lot of prop firms. My setups work brilliantly with prop firms because my setups are very rules based, and very mechanical in their approach. And what's really important, everything I trade here is based on a pattern, and as humans we're very good at identifying patterns. Now what it means here is on just 20 ticks a day, 250 a day, within 9 weeks you have the potential there of a 10,000 a week income. Within 12 weeks 24,000 a week. That is the reality. Now what if we were to step it up a little? And the reason I mention or say let's step it up a wee bit, for an example, that was sort of over within 15-20 minutes, and there I averaged that was 310 per contract. Now what if you went for 300 a day per contract? Look where you are in 8 weeks, 12,000 a week, 10 weeks legal, I've got to say, potentially, and 10 weeks 26,000. Now okay, that sounds great. And by the way, if you haven't seen my spreadsheets before, how they work is you only start trading an additional contract when you double your money. So say if you need 4,000, you only start trading 2 contracts when you're up to 8,000. So we're being very realistic and conservative here. So this is a true potential, and how all I need is 4 7-tick trades a day, or 5 6-tick trades a day. Okay, and here I was going for an 8-tick stop and an 8-tick target. As you'll see when we get to recording, 1 or 2 of the trades I got out a wee bit early because I just wanted to scalp, and there was some resistance or support in front of me. I can't remember. We'll see the video in a moment. Now very quick advertisement. If you haven't already, you can download my ebook, The Truth About Day Trading, description link below. Even better still, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and you become a member. Traders, the setups that you see kick butt. I've been now day trading for 28 years. I have tens of thousands of hours under my belt, and if there was something better, I'll tell you about it. In other words, I don't sell my indicators. I give them away to all of my members, and I give away the settings that I use. So if I haven't coded all of my indicators for a platform, I give you the settings and you can set up what I do on any good trading platform. And for $297 you have lifetime access to the members area. This is probably the most comprehensive scalpers and day traders program there is. I've got over 15 kick butt trading strategies. Now why 15? Well, it's a bit like a tradesperson with a toolbox. They'll have a different tool in there for a different job. However, you only need to master just a couple of different setups, and that's all you need the rest of your life. Okay, now traders, why should you also be listening to me besides the fact I have over 28 years experience? In my live trading room, which I run 3 times a week, I've got 294 registered, and in my coaching program I have 315 registered there. I've traders all around the world, and I've got a bonus going where for in the 297 you can actually attend 1 month or 8 of my live sessions. If the hours don't suit you, you can watch a recording. You can also email in any questions that you may have, and I'll cover them on the charts, and you can watch the recording. And this is not an automatic sign up for ongoing renewals. You've got lifetime access, nothing else to pay, and 1 month in my coaching room. Then at the end of 1 month, if you like what you see, you can then drop me an email. Hey, I'd like to find out more about your ongoing coaching, and the coaching room's $197 a month. And in those sessions I'm teaching you basically everything from money management through to my setups in great detail. And I've been running, and since I've been using a Google Drive, this is 94 months now. It's actually a lot longer. It's 2016 I started running these sessions. Okay, end of ad. Come and join me. Description link below. Let's get into this. First of all, you'll notice with my trading, I don't generally go for the home run. I'm all about just getting on base, and this movie Moneyball really discusses that and covers that beautifully. Home runs are not necessary. Just get on base, just scalp the market can make a massive difference to your trading. And get in, get out, get paid. Now, I've already mentioned there, what if you don't have $4,000? Well, you can of course go and start with a prop firm. Now let me just say this, I know your broker's going to say, well look, the intraday day trading margins are $500, you don't need 4,000. Yes you do, and the reason being, if you got an 8-tick stop, that's $100, and we don't want to risk any more generally than 2%. If you're confident, 2.5%, which is what I'm going to show you today. So you can start on the micro and build your account, because if you say start with 500 to 1,000, you have a couple of losses, all of a sudden your margins written off. And this is where, and by the way, most traders will flick ahead. They don't want to see this, they don't want to know about this, and they wonder why they never make it as a trader. Now if you started on a micro, go for $30 a day, and I'll show you how to do that. You can then jump to the big contract in 8 weeks. Then potentially in 16 weeks, you've got your 12,000 a week income. Now, if you look at this here, this is where you've got up to a 8-tick stop. You require a $400 account. Now that's if you're risking 2.5%, which you rarely see me talk about. I nearly always talk about a 2% risk. However, if you're an experienced trader, or you're willing to follow to the T my training, you can get away with this. You can trade with a 2% risk. What you need is 4 8-tick trades or 6 6-tick trades. Now the trades never work out to be exact. You might get slippage, you might go for a larger move, etc. I mean, I'm just looking at the 1 tick at the moment, which we will discuss when we get to the charts. But then we roll over into the big contract, as you saw up there. Okay, going for your 300 a day, and 8 weeks there, 8 weeks later, there's your 12,000. This is the true potential. I won't go through this here if you're trading with a 10-tick stop. I'm normally talking about that in all of my other videos, but let's just focus on today's session. Now what is important to me is where all of these levels are, and every good trading platform will plot these automatically. And pivot levels, you might be a brand new trader and thinking, I've got no idea what a pivot is. It's easy. After a couple of hours of training, you pick these up. Traders, this is not rocket science. It really isn't. It really is about patience, discipline, and consistency, looking for the patterns. So the question now is, okay, 12 grand a week sounds pretty good. How do we get there? So let me play back this record, and first of all, before I do, let's just check the charts here. Okay, so if we just go back here for a moment, and so this is live, so this is where the charts are right now, and you just had would have been a beautiful entry there had a nice double bottom just here. We rallied up. See, this is a pivot. See that there? That's a pivot. This is a pivot. The low of day I classify as pivots, and you've got a pivot down here. These are all price magnets. Now once again, just showing you these, once you have an hour or two of training, you get what you will go, aha, now I get it. Now the market today has been very, very quiet. and we've got to be very careful of these areas, and that's where I went that is, we've got a pivot here. Notice how we keep bouncing off the pivot. All of my EMAs are very flat until we get a breakout. Now these are the areas that are account killers and confidence killers. Now yesterday President Trump, and they announced the ceasefire in the Middle East, so the markets have been going absolutely crazy up until yesterday, and today they're very quiet. However, as I warn all members and all traders, we've got to be very careful because yes, oil is back down to about 95-96 a barrel. However, we're seeing that the ceasefire is being broken at times, so at any time the markets can take off. So that comes back to the time frame that I trade. You see, traders, I love the 1 tick chart. Now the 1 tick on the ES is only tradable during the Globex session. Rarely could you trade this during the New York session because it's just too fast. Now the beautiful part about a 1 tick chart is your maximum stop size is going to be 6 ticks, which is $75 or $7.50. Just 3 6 tick trades a day, and I want you to notice the arrows in the direction of the cloud. Okay, so white arrow long. Here there's a reason why we're not interested in those. We roll over. You've got a black arrow short, black arrow short. I only need 3 of those a day, and that is $600. Sorry, 600. That is $200 net per day, net of those. And you just had one there. I wouldn't have been in here, and I did have it then set up just here, but not the range. What I like to wait for, traders, is what I call a breakout pullback. When I'm in a period of consolidation, I want to stay away from this like the plague. Okay, very, very dangerous. Now what it does mean though at times is that when you've got a breakout, sometimes you don't get the pullback for ages. Well, so be it. I prefer to miss out on a winning trade occasionally than take a losing trade. In other words, I want to wait for those, just the right trading time. So let's have a look at this recording for a moment. So with this one, I'd already taken this trade just here, so I'd already gone long, and I've got a maximum stop of 8 ticks in place. Now up here, this was actually a nice little divergence trade. Now that's the other thing, traders, these trades here are trading with the trend, and I recommend that all new traders focus on trading with the trend. For an example, on the 1 tick, I can see on another screen there were just another 2 6 tick moves trading with the trend. Now I also like to set targets based upon contract, or the amount per contract required. So the method to my madness is to have a target. As I mentioned, I believe in POQ, power of quitting. The young guns watching this, you may choose to keep going. Okay, but for us old dogs, we like to get in, get out, get paid. Now this here was a divergence trade, so I'm short 10 contracts. My stop is 1 tick above, now above the swing there. Now that's not always going to be possible when you've got an 8 tick stop. Okay, if you've got an 8 tick stop, you may be down here, where if I'm normally trading a 2 tick chart, I've got a 10 tick stop. And I'll just move this along a wee bit. So my target here is also 8 ticks, so a 1 to 1. So I'm just waiting here. We're bouncing, we're bouncing, we're bouncing. Okay, so there I'm just moving things around on the screen as I was recording. This is trade 2 just here. Now 8 ticks is $100 per contract, less your commission to your broker. Okay, now for members watching, this is also a T10, a really nice T10. Now down here I want you to notice all of this support. We've got that black line there is a central pivot. We've got other pivots, got major EMAs, and the reason that's whoops, wow, what happened then? I must have paused the video for a sec there, and then we got filled. What I was about to say, these major areas will give you major support resistance. Okay, now let me just go back, and I didn't realize I'd paused the video there. Must have slowed right down. Just waiting to watch that for a sec. Okay, yeah, I must have paused the video, but anyway, we got down here, we hit our 8 ticks, we're out. Now I wasn't in on this trade. Now this is what I call a 3B, and the reason I didn't take it, it was, look how flat everything is. Okay, I did have a little bit of divergence. It was a pivot bounce, but I didn't take it, and you can see it's worked out mighty fine. Traders, there's always another bus around the corner. Your best and highest probability trading is when you're trading with the trend. The deeper the pullback though can also give you some really nice moves. Now up here you can see I've got an entry ready to buy. Now that entry is based upon something that I'm looking at on the higher time frame called the anchor chart 1. One of the secrets to my trading is I'm simply looking at a higher time frame, and I'm looking for a retracement and a pullback then back in the direction of that higher time frame on my entry chart. Simple concept, it kicks butt, and in many ways there's nothing new about that, just the patterns that I'm trading. So now I've gone long. Now there you can see my stop is not under my swing. Okay, so there I'm right at the low. Normally I'm below that. Now what I'm just doing there is playing with my stop, not to increase my stop, and this is a fatal mistake a lot of traders make, where they move their stop hoping price will go back in the original direction. The stop is there for a reason. Now the reason I was looking at moving my stop, up above I've got the high of day and I've got a pivot. Now from my entry I'm after 8 ticks here, so I've got an 8 tick stop with an 8 tick target. So I've now locked in 2 ticks. Why? There's a very good chance I could bounce off the high of day or off the pivot. So I've now made this a risk-free trade. And this traders, I also, for members watching this is also, it's a 2B and it's a T20-1. So for members watching this, if you haven't heard of I've got different codes for different setups. It just makes it easier when I'm coaching, etc. So now we're filled on this particular trade. Okay, so we've hit that there, and that was trade number 3. Now trade number 4, I think this is setting up now. And trade number 4 was actually what I call a 2D, a double divergence. Now I recommend that all new traders only trade with the trend. You don't trade divergence setups initially. I think I started to say that earlier. So stay right away from counter trend trades. You've got a ton of with trend trades, but once again I've got the experience under my belt and pretty good at them. However, they can be tricky, so I recommend stick with trend trading. Now even with this, I think it's about here, I ended up taking a trade. I got out very quickly, and the reason being I'm always very cautious with counter trend trades. Now it did continue by the way, so I got out with only a couple of ticks, but also it meant I'd hit my target. Okay, remember I was only after 250 a day per contract. For me, I love to get in, hit the target, and wrap it up. That suits me. Now just here I'm looking and waiting to see what happens here. Okay, so now I've locked in 1 tick, okay, to cover commissions, because there's a very good chance too I could bounce anywhere here. All right, so I'm out with just 2 ticks out of that trade. Now a little further along, by the way, and I'm just scrolling back looking at pointing out potential setups and why we wouldn't have taken those, and you can see it continued beautifully. So I could have got my 8 ticks out of that divergence trade, but I could see my control panel, I was well and truly above where I wanted to be with my target. Now let me just quickly go back to the live chart for a moment and just show you this 1 tick. Okay, so on the 1 tick you had, for members watching, you just had a T10, nice entry there, big T3. Actually, was it there? Make sure I've caught up. Sorry, that was back a bit further. Now see this potential entry here, selling straight into a pivot, and we bounced. Traders, pivots can be like brick walls, but they also make you a lot of money because pivots become price magnets. Now can you see that white line, the white line then the arrow? What that's telling me is do not enter or take this trade until here. Do not take anything here until here. Likewise there, the trade line will keep you out of a lot of losing trades. And remember, all you need is 3 6-tick trades a day, and that's an incredible rate of return on your capital. Just 3 of those, that's all you need, and they're actually going for about 8 ticks. Traders, trading doesn't have to be rocket science. And there's another entry on a reversal. You've got your first high or low, and that is T10, and note your trade line. It's telling you not to enter until here. So traders, this is not rocket science. It's about learning the patterns. You don't have to learn all of my setups. You just want to focus on initially your 2Bs and your 34Bs. That's all you need. And so in my coaching sessions, I'm covering comprehensively all of my setups, talking about trades of a day. We look at the live charts as trades are setting up, etc. For $297 you have lifetime access. Come and join me. Now also make sure you download my ebook, and you can also download the spreadsheet that I use. So in the description link below, you can download those, but come and join me. Thanks, traders. See you in the next video.